Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Paul Kelly. We are in final prediction mode ahead of the big world title featherweight fight taking place in New York this weekend between Alberto Lopez and Reiya Abe. It is Mexico against Japan. Paul, fantastic division. We've got some fantastic British featherweight, over here. And it's a real quality division. And we're seeing some more world title action this weekend. Gonna go straight into it as always. Firstly, gonna go over the latest betting odds. There is quite a strong favorite in this fight. Alberto Lopez is 1-8 to win this fight, 6-4 to win by stoppage, and 4-5 to win by decision. Reiya Abe is 5-1 to win the fight, 10-1 by KO, and 8-1, by decision. Gonna hand over to you now, Paul. What is your final prediction ahead of tomorrow night?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, mate. Can't sit here and say that, you're probably the same. Can't sit and say we're experts on Reiya Abe or Abe. Apologies if I've got the pronunciation wrong. It's probably one of those two. Um, but yeah, I think I've seen Alberto Lopez live in the flesh, obviously, when he knocked out Michael Conlan in Belfast. Think, when the Warrington fight as well, last time out against Joey Gonzalez. I think Alberto Lopez, for me, has become the best featherweight in the world. I've said that in a couple of previews recently as well with Eliot. I believe Alberto Lopez is the best featherweight in the world right now, and I think he'll show that this weekend. In saying that, I think this is a more competitive fight than the bookies are making it. I would have Alberto Lopez for sure as a favourite, but they seem quite wide for me. 1-8, 5-1 just to win. Abe he's got some good wins on there. Yes, he basically all of his fights have been in Japan and in Tokyo, and he hasn't really fought away from home at all. But yeah, and he doesn't have those names on the resume, bar maybe Kiko Martinez, I believe it is. But I think that for me, Alberto Lopez wins this fight. I think could stop Reiya Abe here, probably around the mid rounds. Just the unorthodox nature of the way he throws his punches, Alberto Lopez. You think you can telegraph them because they're coming from his ankles, they're coming from up here, wherever. Um, but you can't. Like it's just you don't know what he's going to throw next, and I think that's partly why it's so good and so difficult to prepare for. So I could see it being competitive for a few rounds for Luis Alberto Lopez again to assert himself, and I actually see him getting the Japanese fighter out of there and making another defense of his IBF world title.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree that he is the best featherweight in the world right now, but it's still an engaging topic, isn't it? I think like there's other world title action going on the same night in the same venue in the same division, and there's obviously Nick Paul versus Ray Vargas next weekend on the Joshua Ngannou undercards. There's lots happening there, and who most people are saying is now the best featherweight in the world. By Saturday next week, they might be saying someone different. So it's a really interesting topic. Ray Abe, again, like you said, like we're not experts on this guy. I noticed he's got 3 losses on his record, but some of those were either a long time ago or just very close points decisions. So I'm personally not taking too much from that. Beat Kiko Martinez last time out in Japan, but for me, just not fighting. I think he's 30 now and he's not fought out of Japan, and that is a concern to me when you're going up against such a quality fighter in Alberto Lopez. Prediction wise, I'm going to join you. I'm going Alberto Lopez KO. I think 6-4 for him to win by stoppage is a fantastic price. Like, look, he's not knocking everyone out. 16 stoppages and 29 wins, but the way he stopped Michael Conlan, I just think that I expect him to do something similar to Abe this weekend in New York. So I'm gonna join you, Paul. Do you want to just touch on it, seeing as we are both going to Lopez? Just going to touch on potentially what's next. I feel like this is just quite relevant now, just because of what's kind of going on the same night. Otabek Kolmatov, who we saw beat Thomas Patrick Ward in the UK last year, is up against fellow undefeated fighter Raymond Ford. That's for the WBA title. Nick Ball against Ray Vargas next Friday for the WBC title. So it's crazy, really, how we're getting three world title fights in the same division in the space of a week. If Luis Alberto wins tomorrow, do you think we could see a unification fight next? And if so, who do you think that might be against?
Yeah, I could say it. The reason I'm saying that as well is because not like he's just won the belt and then is go, maybe needs to make a couple of defense, wants to make a few defenses before he does go for that unification. He's already done that. He's defended it against Michael Conlan and Joey Gonzalez and potentially here against Reiya Abe as well. So I think it's time for unifications. I think he'll want that. He'll be calling for unification. So yeah, if I was Luis Alberto Lopez, provided he wins this fight, I'd be calling out any of those champions, anyone with the belt, unifications, in the summertime, late summer, whenever it may be. And yeah, I think it's definitely it's not outside the realms of possibility for that to happen. Anyway, I would love to see. I suppose it kind of depends on who wins those fights. It's like I'd love Lopez against Nick Ball would be mad. I think that would just be someone's getting starched, um, just because of how powerful they are, and people would say maybe reckless, but calculated risk and stuff. I would love to see. I would absolutely love to see that fight. That's obviously provided Nick Ball wins the WBC title off Ray Vargas, which is a really tough ask. But yeah, that's probably the one I would love to see the most. Um, but equally, yeah, I wouldn't, Luis Alberto Lopez against even Navarrete or whoever. Like, I think they're the names he has to be fighting next. I want to see him in with those fellow champions at 126 pounds for sure.
Yeah, look, it's a crazy division, and I think look, I think all three fights are good fights. The two taking place this weekend, the one next Reyes, who are being spot for choice in this division now. Not forgetting Rafael Espinoza, who obviously upset Robson Ramirez. When was that? A couple of months ago now. Not sure what he's doing next. Not sure if the Ramirez rematch is happening or they're going to go different ways. But I mean, those are two more fighters. Espinoza, who kind of feels like he's come out of nowhere, and Ramirez, who up until a couple of months ago, he was being touted as the best featherweight in the world until he got beat. So it's a really look. It's personally it's quite possibly my favorite division in boxing. To be honest, there's some other fantastic divisions there, but I just think there's so many quality fighters in that division now. I think it's fantastic, and you're getting the guys fighting each other, which you can't say for every division. Paul, we'll leave it there. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night, sorry, depending on when you're watching, versus Luis Alberto Lopez against Reiya Abe. Abe, again, once again, apologies, and we will see what is next for the winner. Paul, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the fight, and I will speak to you again soon.